Hey, how y'all doing? So I decided to do a little bit of research this time, and I think I'm gonna have to back up on my "women can't draw" statement, which I've said numerous times. If you haven't heard me say it, I've always been in that camp where I say women don't draw. Essentially, if you put a lot of women's matches on a show, you're guaranteed that show is gonna sink in the ratings. But Sasha Banks and Io Shirai gained 900,000 viewers in one segment for their main event match on the July 1st Great American Bash episode of NXT. And as an aside, my review of the Great American Bash will come up when will be one big review. So it will be a review of day one and day two. Same thing with Fighter Fest. I will be doing reviews of those shows, but they will be together. So back to the video. So with this momentous occasion, because it's almost 1 million viewers gained during one segment, it becomes a difficult thing here where this isn't well. While it's the first time, it's such a huge jump. This isn't the first time that the women have actually kind of single-handedly beat AEW in the ratings. And I don't care about ratings, by the way. I don't talk about ratings usually, but this is a direct attack towards some things that I've been saying online about women don't draw and different things like that. And I'm not going to deny reality. So ultimately, if I'm wrong about this, then I just need to just say that I'm wrong. But there are also aberrations in the world, you know. So what I'm saying here is Sasha Banks and Io Shirai, 900,000 viewers in one segment. An incredible feat. Of course, it was commercial free, which is pay-per-view quality. And on the other show, you had Grandma's Boy and the 40-year-old version being driven to work by somebody's mom. So they kind of helped them, right? They didn't get in the way by presenting anything uh, that's in any way superior to when we were told that these are the two best women or two of the best women in the world. And on the other channel, we get guys going on a play date, but that's not neither here nor there because this isn't the first time. Sasha and Bailey, when they main evented NXT, they also won the ratings that night too. And kind of and this will kind of lead you to believe that Sasha Banks is kind of the draw in these situations here, right? That she has a lot of stands, man. Like the Sasha Banks accounts are on Twitter are absolutely obnoxious. Like, again, I don't care about ratings, but when this information hit the internet, it became like the craziest, most memed thing in the world that they started calling Sasha Banks the draw, right? Which is legit, and they actually took it from they claimed it from Sammy Callahan. And normally, gimmick infringement is not my thing, but fuck Sammy Callahan. He's a warthog. Who the hell cares? So let's talk about but it's not been just Sasha Banks though, because the December 18th episode of NXT also beat AEW in the rankings, and that was the night that Shayna Baszler wrestled Rhea Ripley for the NXT Women's title, and that was the night that Rhea Ripley was crowned the NXT Women's Champion, and that was actually the last victory for NXT in a long time. So after that, there was a lot of NXT losses in these. I mean, the men have won. I think the Keith Lee, Finn Balor, Johnny Gargano match dominated AEW in the ratings, but it seems like when the WWE or NXT in particular have put so much emphasis on the women's wrestling that it actually is beginning to draw on its own. Now, the Great American Bash day one had 3 women's matches on it. Usually that would be absolute death as far as ratings are concerned. But because, the women of NXT, one of which had actually beaten NXT AEW in the ratings once on Rhea Ripley, even though she was in an absolute nothing match, it actually says a lot that they have quality women in their division, but it also says that the audience trusts the NXT women's division because not only were these 3 women's matches, they were 3 kind of lengthy women's matches. Well, the Fatal 4-Way match was pretty lengthy, and the main event, of course, was the main event, so it was kind of longer. And the Rhea Ripley Aaliyah thing longer than it needed to. But I'm kind of floored at the idea that almost a million people watched Sasha Banks versus Io Shirai as it happened. I'm surprised that anything WWE got such a huge jump in the ratings outside of them replaying a WrestleMania match or something like that. But it says a lot that, maybe Sasha Banks is up there in that rarefied air with Sunny and Sable and Trish Stratus and all these women who, they did bikini photo shoots and stuff like that. So that's why they were interesting. As an aside, Gail Kim, I don't know what's up with Gail Kim. She's an executive at Impact, and yet she's talking about how bra and panties matches were some of the most traumatic matches that she's ever been in. I'm thinking to myself, I think we have a different definition of trauma. Like, getting kidnapped is traumatic. Getting molested is traumatic. Having a gun shoved in your face is traumatic. Being raped is traumatic. I don't understand how participating in a match that you were asked to be in, that you didn't have to be in, that, and getting your clothes ripped off in a match that you knew you were going to get your clothes ripped off in is anyway traumatic. But this is somebody who is obviously just has some type of malfunction. I know it's feminism, that's the malfunction. But this idea that you're retroactively a victim for something that you chose to do and then claim, I felt like I didn't. Who cares how you feel? You did have a choice. Okay? This bitterness that she's holding, she needs to fuck off. Okay? Fuck Gail Kim. And I'm going to say that every chance I get. But it makes sense that, people would be interested in bra and panties matches and stuff like that over, actual women's wrestling matches. But I've said before that women don't draw because the WNBA doesn't draw. Most women's sports outside of, I think, tennis and soccer, and even when it comes to women's soccer, it doesn't draw that much. That people don't really care about women's. WWE had the Evolution show. They had trouble selling tickets, which is why they didn't have another one. So it's a long storied history of women not drawing, but it seems like it's actually beginning to turn around. Now, is that the case, or is it that the gimmicks around the show is what pushed it? Was it that you had Grandma's Boy and the 40-year-old version on the other channel? Was it that it was presented commercial free? It could be. And I think that might be helpful, but again, it's not the first time that Sasha Banks has gained a lot of viewers for NXT. She did it just a couple of weeks ago with the tag team title match. So, I mean, it's a difficult situation. I'm not the one that's going to deny reality in this situation. And the reality of the situation is Sasha Banks, I guess, is drawing. So that's a good thing. But what do you guys think in the comment section? Let me know. Is NXT's women's division actually drawing viewers, or was it the gimmicks around it and the lack of competition on the other network? If you think that, let me know. If not, present an argument to me on in the comment section. And I'll talk to you guys later.